Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Enlightenment through meditation, 6 o'clock every Saturday. So, I'm very thankful to all of you for joining me tonight. It takes time, it takes understanding, patience, and stability for the mind to be able to join a session where truth is being discussed. Because all day long, life after life, day in, day out, we discuss a lot of things where mind is very turbulent. All the time it's turbulent. So for it to come down so we can enjoy the peace within us, it takes a while. So I'm very thankful to all of you who have decided to come sit with me and join this session. Thankful to your fingers, thankful to your minds, and thankful to all those feet who have come here for the class. Um, Last time we had talked about the grace. What is grace? How do we know when the grace is coming? What it has to do with the within us, the realization within us, or when we grow into realization, how do we recognize grace? And we talked a lot about it last time. And as I mention every single time, these subjects are not something you can finish in a session of 30 minutes or an hour. This is ever growing. There is no end to completion that we can say, okay, I completed the chapter of grace. Because as everything around us is beyond and beyond, peace is beyond a description, grace is beyond description. Anything that is within us, happiness is beyond description. It's I am happy at this level, tomorrow I can be happy more, third day I can be very sad. That anything can be higher or lower. Going down also is no end, coming up is also no end. This is beyond. So today we wanted to take a little bit further description or explanation into grace, because generally we all say, why don't I get it? In today's world, every single one of us has something or the other going on, and we feel, okay, there is a lot of grace, but I don't get it. And I see this person who gets a lot of grace because they do all wrong things, bad things, which we think, not necessarily they may think, but we might think they are not doing the right thing. Still they are getting this, still they are progressing. And why it is that? It's very unfair. So why grace is showering on them, although they are not the right people in our minds, and it's not showering on us because we think we are the best, again in our minds. Because mind is turbulent, it keeps on thinking something or the other. And then why the grace is connected to, so if I have a lot of connection within myself, I am in tune to myself, versus someone who has no connection within themselves. Is grace not coming to them? And if it is coming more or less, why is that? And once again, which we discussed, what is grace, when does it come, how does it come, and why does it come to a different level to different people. So, a lot of things to talk about in this short period of time, but we will go over to get a bird's eye view what it is and what it means. So, grace giver, who is a grace giver? Grace is something that we get without asking. Because last time I also mentioned about a story that a person said, whatever I did, give me the results of that, and he ended up in big trouble. Grace is coming, like right now, sun is shining. That's by grace of someone. Oxygen is being given to us. That's grace of someone. Our body is 80-90% water. We are getting freely by grace of someone. We haven't done exceptionally anything to claim all these things. They are given to us. Earth is given to us. We are walking on it, doing whatever we want to. We don't even have a consideration about earth in terms of what it is giving us. We take it for granted. We do nasty things on earth. We do nice things on earth. Some people believe and go about earth and earth. Some people don't give anything to earth. It's there. So all these things, once we start looking into it, the most important thing is, do we even think about this? So, what is grace? Grace means when someone starts to feel, yeah, I am thankful for something being given to me by grace. That means the grace is also showering to us to get in tuned within ourselves to recognize it. If that grace hadn't gotten to us, we will also be saying it doesn't matter. I mean, this is taken for granted. And that if you hear anyone talking like that, it kind of falls on the cold side. Sometimes we say this person is very cold. Maybe very truthful thing they are saying, but how they express it. But when somebody else shares with them or tells them or lets them know the other side or the bigger side of the picture, then this person might cool down and say, you know what, I didn't think about it. So grace is which is coming already. There may be someone who would be very thankful that if this sun was not there, the plants will not grow, the oxygen will not be there, the food couldn't be prepared, we couldn't be eating, we couldn't be surviving, and I couldn't be standing in front of you and talking, for example. So to realize all that is happening just because there is sun, then there is earth, then there is air, then there is water, and because of all these things, this creation is running. Suddenly you go, my God, so much grace is coming already without me asking. The more you get connected within yourself, these areas start to open. What opens? The inner eye to see, which is called enlightenment. Enlightenment definition is not when the light is on, then you got enlightened because the light was on, and when it got turned off, we all forgot everything about it. Enlightenment means inner eye. What is inner eye? The inner knowledge, which is what? Wisdom, coming from positive source by grace. Because the inner wisdom also cannot be taught. Otherwise, there will be University of Wisdom. We teach wisdom here. We go learn day to day things, how to do, how to make our minds more active, how can we deal our daily businesses. But the inner wisdom to realize all this grace and spirituality and going into what you get from those blessings is not something you can be taught, because it is not the game of mind. It is the game of heart. When you feel good, how can you tell somebody, I feel good, gauge it for me? It's 10% good, 20%. It doesn't work like that, because it's a matter of feeling. So today is the sun coming out, and I'm so thankful. That is by that grace I feel that way. Otherwise, I cannot. I may be very cold, sleeping, don't even realize it. So whenever I use the example last time, when a child is growing in a family, he can go to the father and say, I need this, and don't you see my this thing is wrong, and don't you see my this thing is wrong, and you are not doing this. That's fine. That is perfectly fine. But the child may not realize that because of the graceful activities of the father, he is living in the house, that he is able to come and complain. He is eating the food that is making him strong to talk like that to the father, because of his grace, because he knows this is my child. My child can do what? He can only play. He can only complain because he doesn't realize how the show is being run. The child doesn't realize, but father knows. And because the child belongs to the father, Father in his own grace doesn't mind child saying all that. He likes it rather, because it proves that it is his child and the child has the liberty to say all this. Father only loves. So when you look at this creation, whoever has created and has done all this must be loving to us. Otherwise, there was no need to create all these things. We like the greenery, we like the flowers, we have the butterflies, we have the birds, we have the fish, we have water, we have the ocean. I mean, so much is given to us, but on top of that, we keep on saying, why don't I get what I want? Because we have also been given a mind, and mind is ever so demanding, and it looks into such a small sphere. We could be worried about today why somebody said something to me, and that makes or breaks my day, because we forgot the grace and where it was coming, and I am living and I am around and I'm living happily. If somebody said this little thing to me in a big sphere arena of things, how much importance I need to give to this? But we are spoiled. Our mind spoils us because we have ego. We have our pride, and our pride was touched and we cannot take it. But as we grow more within ourselves and we get in tuned within ourselves, our vision becomes bigger and bigger. As the vision is smaller, we are looking at one sentence. But as the vision becomes bigger and bigger, that small sentence becomes only that small. And then by our own grace, we want to forget it and we want to move on. And when by that grace we say something like we don't mind or we are loving to the person who said, it's very difficult for that person to take it because we are all not used to grace. So coming back to the question, why don't I get it? This is a very common question, and I thought it would be good to discuss this a little bit. So when you look at the grace, the sun, for example, as I'm using the example, it is giving heat to everyone equally. Sun cannot differentiate between us or even the population or even the plants or the water, doesn't. Its job is to give heat and light, and it's doing it to everyone equally. So similar thing goes for grace that comes from the creator of this universe. Because this goes into very long discussions, and this is not the part we are covering that today. We are just covering the grace part. So when it comes equally to everyone, why do we feel that I don't get it, she gets it, he gets it, you get more, I get less? Why do we feel? Because it is the same thing. The grace is already showering, sun is already giving the light and heat to everyone equally. But here is the thing. If I sit inside a room and sun is shining, for me it is not shining, I can care less. I don't see it. For me, I can totally say that there is nothing like sun even exists. Or if I was under a tree, I would be feeling the heat a little bit. If the wind was blowing, less heat, but I could see the light is there and sun is shining so much. If the weather is cloudy, then I will be completely fooled and I'll say sun is not shining because there are clouds. So in other words, wherever everybody is standing in their awareness, that's how they receive this grace. So if I am sitting in a room and cannot see outside the sun shining, for me it is not shining. Same thing is with grace. When we are living, eating, laughing, enjoying life, but not exactly getting what we want, maybe necessarily good or not, because we don't know. We all have experienced in our lives that whatever we feel good today, if it happens, may turn out to be bad in 1 month or next day. Or what we might have done bad today, we thought could have been the best thing tomorrow. We don't know. And we all know that we don't know. But we still don't want to admit it. We don't want to believe it. Depending on the awareness of a person, we get more and more into acceptance, because we realize that with our own efforts or with us doing everything may not turn out to be the best for us. If it turns out in our interest, still in a way not good for us, because it inflates our ego. We think I did it, right? I made the phone call. That is why this whole thing happened and my deal was materialized. My I-hood is going more and more bigger and bigger. But the more awareness I have and more receptivity to the grace I have, that phone call could have been gone into complete waste, but it didn't. So then I realized it was meant to be. This is how I was supposed to be. And there was a lot of grace coming to me because I am going more into acceptance. A little tough topic, but it takes a little bit of understanding, getting into it, how the grace is showering. So the more grace we feel is because our inner self is advancing into acceptance. As long as we have the ego self in us that I am the doer, it's very hard to receive that grace because we don't want to admit that existence. Although we see, no, the trees outside, you go on the street, they are flowering, they are giving all that, everything is happening, but because of our ego self, we don't want to admit it, and that's where the problem comes. When we feel that this grace is not showering on me, that means our doors, inner doors, are really closed. We haven't opened them. We are so limited to looking at them, just like sun shining and we are sitting in a room. So to be able to see if the sun is shining, what we need to do? Sun is already shining. We have to get up and open the doors. We have to make the effort to get out and then be able to see the sun, use the eyes to see the sun and to feel the heat. It's on us. If we don't change our attitude, sun will shine all day and in the evening it will be gone. Sun is not the loser. We become the loser. So why it is happening to me, why it is happening to others, that's another thing that we sometimes, not sometimes, majority of the time, come into this feeling that we don't think someone is good or bad and why this grace is coming to them. First of all, we are not the judge. Nobody has made us the judge. What they do on the surface, what they do inside them is two different stories. What we are discussing is a path of truth. The truth is done by actions to one's own self. Truth is never done to prove to someone else. It doesn't really matter. If you are doing good to someone, if you give food to some hungry person, the relationship is between you and hungry person. Even hungry person, what that after getting the food gives you, not blesses you, that's up to him. Your feeling within yourself becomes the most important. And in the path of truth, when you do something in goodness for others, if you feel like I am the doer, you get deteriorated. Your numbers go down because you suddenly become I am the doer. The path of truth is therefore very difficult to do in reality. So when you get more into acceptance, then you feel that grace right away on the same activity. As your inner tuning increases, you feel, thank you that I was able to feel that this person is hungry. I am in a position to buy the food. I have the strength to bring it the food. And thank goodness this person has accepted my food and is able to eat and build his strength a little bit. So I am thankful for all this to happen, for that grace that showered on me to give me that understanding rather than being egotistical about it that, okay, I did it and because of me this happened. Because as soon as the mehood comes, the grace goes down because we are not recognizing it, right? So that connection within makes us to realize, makes us to feel the connection and the grace that is coming to us. The same connection, if somebody has or not has, really, it's nothing to do with us. So why this person is getting or not getting the grace, this should not be even occurring to us. We should not be discussing it, because we do not know the reality of that person's communication direct to within themselves, or their awareness within themselves, or how much advanced they have gone within themselves. We don't know. By looking at someone, if we make the judgment, we are being judgmental. That is not a part of grace. So this is one way of realizing that, is the grace coming to me? Is it coming to others? Is it necessary to compare? Should we really compare? Or should we get in tuned within ourselves to enjoy it and ask for more? Because as more grace comes, we become more and more humble. The more and more humble we become, down to earth, down to earth. There is a saying, he's down to earth, means earth is too big, beyond and beyond. So much happens on earth, ocean, so much is happening on earth. As soon as that starts to happen, we feel good that we are becoming part of that beyond, which is beyond description. And that is why the terms being used, down to earth, like that. So what is grace? We went over that and we discussed that last time. When it comes, when the grace is already coming, as I discussed earlier, but when we start realizing it, and that also happens however the grace comes, the more and more we feel, the more and more we are in tuned within ourselves. How does it come? It's coming already, but the connection to be able to see that becomes more and more advanced within ourselves because of just this grace coming to us. So it becomes like a cycle. The more it comes, the more awakened we get, the more thankful we get, the more it comes. And thus vice versa. Same thing, it can go in the opposite direction also. Why it comes? Because someone did create this whole universe for us, and there is love. You will feel every time that when you look at the creation, you go and sit in the forest, you get so peaceful. Peaceful, loving, and kindness and sharing, these are all the treasures that are within us. And in last few seminars, we did go over all those, that as we start to advance within ourselves, all these treasures of humility, treasure of love, treasure of kindness, treasure of satisfaction, treasure of patience, they start to come up more and more. And the negative attributes start to go down and down. So I hope this session was useful for you today. I want to tell you that I always look forward for these sessions. I enjoy these sessions, and I hope you do too. Every Saturday we are here at 6 o'clock. I'm very thankful for you to taking the time to watching us tonight. If you ever have any questions, you can always write to us. Remember, happiness is not too far. You can always watch these sessions on our Ustream channel, live or recorded. And you can go on YouTube also. It's youtube.com/Dr. Kors. You can come to our website, that is drkors.com, or you can watch us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Dr. Kors. And with that, I want to tell you, I love you all. Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Until then, have a great evening.